baby, down in my soul. You, baby, you can't take it no more. No, I know I'm walking out that door the way you treated me too many times before. Don't you know you love them, baby, too? Oh, you know I want you there, I wanna be right there with you. I know I gotta keep you by my side till the day I die. 'Cause baby, ecstasy is in my hand. Oh, when I'm holding yours in mine and walking in the sand. Oh, baby, you know it's fine. Oh, now you done piss me off. You ain't done something you shouldn't have done. Baby, I'm mad. I'm going on. Oh, I'm going on.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is, wherever you are. Welcome back to Easy Reefers. And hope you had a wonderful weekend. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. And if your mother's still with you, hope you did something nice for her today. If you have a fiance or wife, hope you did something nice for them too. Anyways, as for my wife and I, we are flat broke. So we were just happy to not have a day of panic attacks together. The kids helped clean up. That was, I mean, it was kind of amazing, really.
I came borderline earlier, but I managed.
That's a fucking cake day for you.
Right. Especially these days.
So, we are lights dim in the fish room. It is midnight here in central Louisiana. And today, Talking about sumps. That's not a sump. What do we have? We have a, no, that's a sump. Oh, there we go. Here is my quote-unquote sump. And don't be alarmed, that's not going to be the primary graphic I'm going to be using for this presentation. But suffice to say, this is a bit of a lax scenario here. This is nothing strict, nothing high maintenance. I don't have any sort of reactors at all. And, you know, I do alright. I got aquapora that is slowly but surely extending its polyps. And of course I got plenty of other SPS and LPS that are doing, just fine. I have yet to lose anything that wasn't already dying when I got it. Well, not in the past year anyways. Not since I stopped harvesting clownfish and stuff out of the same system. But we've had a solid year of nice stability and growth with what you're looking at, which is what I called my divide and filter setup. Okay? And this is a simple matter of combining several of the other methods that I'm going to discuss tonight. What I have here is a bunch of Caulerpa prolifera on the left, a wall of live rock separating a clownfish divider, which is basically a piece of acrylic with a bunch of holes at the bottom. On the other side, on the right side at the bottom, is a bunch of oregano, about 20 pounds of it. And it is stacked up at an angle against that divider so that the water must flow, at least some of the water must flow through the holes. The edges of that divider aren't sealed. So the water does come around the sides of the divider, which is just fine for me. I don't want it to be restricted. But if I were to have the edges sealed, the left side would fill up a little more, and then it would simply go over the top row of holes. But, you know, you can drill your own holes in there, set up your own kind of custom setup. The idea is the sand isn't going to come back to the left side because of the water pressure. And if it does, it's no big deal because there's sand on that side anyway. But what this does is allow me to keep a cleanup crew to eat, you know, whatever your filter sock is probably screening out. Now, granted, that then has to be a better system. I have to siphon that big pile of sand. But that's the main pile of sand that I need to siphon. All the other sand in my system really just needs to get stirred up. And then by having that big pile of sand, I control where the detritus accumulates for, you know, at least on a percentile effective basis. So anyways, let me get y'all a better look at that right quick. And as always, I do have the chats open, and we are open for any kind of questions you guys might have. And of course, any comments you want to make on my horribly cheap, sloppily set up systems, I welcome them. I've been doing this a very long time, and, well, for me, setting up a saltwater tank isn't something I plan out. It's just like, oh look, I'm going to go see what's on sale and see if I can slop together a tank out of it. And from there, I've kind of just upgraded. My upgrades have gone crazy. I've upgraded my upgrades, and I've expanded and just gotten to the point where I am in a truly obscene fish room here. And you know, it's not one of those setups that's like thousands and thousands of dollars by any means. But it's 2 fucking walls in my living room, man.
No, we ain't got it like that. Trust me.
I think for the bang for buck I've done here, I think I've gotten a lot for my money. And I look forward to when I actually have this consolidated to the point where it's show-worthy. But lately, we went from clownfish breeding to trying to restock to setting up a new tank to just try to get a better, prettier setup in here. And then the Brucanella outbreak happened, and while I had the quarantines running, I'm pretty much past the Brucanella. While I had the quarantines running now, I have 1 fish left in the quarantine down there, and now I've tried to cure this, what I diagnosed to be a viral infection, because it didn't seem contagious. Tatsuki has it. That's the larger, more black fish right there. And Yumachika does not. And they've been in the same 10 gallon for a long time. So now we're still running in haphazard mode as they get treated. And I'm really not sure about Smurfette. I'm kind of waiting till that 10 gallon on the bottom right gets a much better cycle to it, and waiting for her breathing to calm down before I move her back. She looks fine, and she's been being treated with fucking formalin for like a month and a half now, you know. Not full doses, mind you, but still. Shouldn't be any fucking problems. Plenty of other fish have been cured and put back in the tank in the same water that she's been in. But she's still, you know, just not quite looking right. Once she's looking right, those 2 fish are going to go down there in that bottom right 10 gallon, which is blacked out right now. And then this monstrous, calamitous island of shit is going to be redesignated as a storage shelf that I'm going to build. Hopefully out of spare wood. I don't know if we have any more spare wood though. Might wind up having to wait till I can buy some wood. But I just want to reduce the amount of shit in here so we can have a better view of the fish tanks. And like, see that little yellow box down there? That's an air pump sitting inside of a Gladware container wrapped in paper towels so that it stays clean on the inside. And yeah, I got holes kind of slotted in the top. It's hot glued, paper towel air filter. Bang out, works just fine, plenty of flow. But the problem is, it looks like shit, and I can't move it yet. Because I'm not going to move it and then still have to move more stuff. I got to get everything the way I want it, and then I'm going to rearrange that crap. But anyway, that just gives you an idea of what I'm working with here. And that sump right there, it works in combination with that tub. That tub's primary purpose was to pre-filter the water before it got into the sump from the larval incubators while I was doing my clownfish breeding. But now it actually helps. It's got one giant piece of live rock and a protein skimmer in that tub. And it's it's just supplemental filtration. But, you know, there's hardly any flow in there, and there's 2 fish in there. I feed that tub, you know, so it's kind of its own system. It doesn't really count. It's, you know, negative, positive, balanced out. Right? So what you have here is that sump down there, really powering pretty much everything. That big 55-gallon and the 20-gallon SPS reef is all being maintained by a bunch of shit thrown into a 20-gallon ball. Literally, just thrown in there. I mean, you know, I had to finagle that divider a little. See, the reason why that clownfish divider worked is because it's designed to where the clownfish aren't able to see each other at the heights that they typically swim. Clownfish usually don't hang around on the top or the bottom, they swim right in the middle, for the most part. So that's designed to keep cross flow between systems, and also allow for the flow to concentrate along the bottom, and keep the bottoms of the individual chambers in a clownfish breeding setup clean. And that cross flow is what I have going into that sand. Now, further to the left than the camera's actually pointing, I have my freshwater auto top off, and it drips about once a second. And that ever so slightly lowers the pH in there, as does the detritus buildup in the left side. The detritus in there, there's mixed Carib Sea and oolite and aragonite, just all kinds of different sand shoved down in there. Because I'll take dirty sand out of my top tanks and just put it down there on the left side. And then I have pure aragonite, one single grade consistency aragonite in the right side. So acidity is allowed to develop in the left side, but then gets treated by keeping that larger, much larger volume of sand in the right side pristine. I keep it very clean. I not only go down there and I siphon it all the way through with the gravel back, but I keep Narcillurus snails in there as well. And also I have in that right chamber, I have a fluval CP1 wave maker in the corner that's what's causing the ripples on the surface. It's nothing but 3 return lines on the left side. I have 3 different total systems, including the tub, the 55, the 20, and the tub, all going into here, over on the left. But on the right, the surface would be completely stagnant and filmy if not for that wave maker. The wave maker also serves as a low water alarm for me. So before my pump starts to get exposed and warm up, which, you know, that Rio technically can run out of the water anyways, but I like to keep it submerged and nice and cool. And I certainly don't like a small volume of water in there because I keep fish down there too. So if the water gets any, well, I'd say about an inch lower than it is right now, I'll hear bubbles from that wave maker. And that wave maker also supplies current to that ball of chaetomorpha right there. I used to have an air stone in there keeping the chaeta suspended, and I'm going to talk more about that particular type of scenario later. But also I have in there, obscuring the pump from view, are some media bags. And those media bags are filled with mostly Seachem Matrix, a little bit of Fluval Biomax, I think, I'm not sure. It might just be all Seachem Matrix. And then I think there might a couple of rocks that I collected from outside to use for freshwater type nutrient supplementation in my rotifricultures. You know, for brackish water, osmosis nutrients. I went ahead and left them in there, just to see. And I got enough plants in my system to where, you know, doesn't really matter. But really, I just wanted to see if it harmed anything. Doesn't seem to be harming anything so far. So if it's not harming and it's releasing raw minerals that would be found in nature and make its way to seawater anyways, probably help it. But don't try that kind of stuff at home, kids, because risking any mineral imbalance can kill off more. That's for sure. What makes my system a lot more safe and buffered as far as that goes is just all the damn plants I have. Plants absorb everything. No matter what supplement you're adding, those plants will absorb it. Just about. Even if they wind up dying from it, they'll absorb it, you know. Plants will absorb copper and formaldehyde, kill their own chlorophyll. Then they can't photosynthesize anymore. They just turn clear. Eventually they decompose. But be wary of that when using any of the methods that I'm about to describe here. Because most of them, and I do mean most of them, involve plants. And I see there's still not exactly a crowd here. But just in case, I'm going to go ahead and put the chat window up. And in case the one person that's watching wants to join in the conversation, feel free to. Otherwise, sometimes it's like, I just see the one person watching. It's just like, say something, damn it. Just one fucking person. One fucking person. How can you just be one person the whole damn time?
I don't know, when I went to go share it, I didn't even click on it, and it said there were 2 people watching, so I knew your thing was wrong, because I haven't seen 2 pop up there, and there was 2 on my phone.
It's just disconcerting seeing the one, it didn't like flicker down to 0, like the one person never has to pee or anything, you know, like.
Well, I mean, I leave my shit running.
Don't need to fucking make a sandwich.
But you can leave them running and go make a sandwich. You don't need to freaking turn it off to go make a damn sandwich.
Are you watching this on the shitter?
Probably the most peaceful place to watch it. Well, think
if
about
you don't have a reefer, I guess. Really? Twitter? Wait, hold up. They gave me a duplicate tweet for Alternative Sumps by Sean Morris. Have I really? Because I thought that I just made this graphic. But Twitter apparently thinks I've done something. Apparently, I'm like experiencing the Mandela effect right now. And Twitter thinks that I've done this before or something.
There's a glitch in the matrix.
There's a glitch in the matrix. Oh yeah. But anyways, okay. So, let me get this all copacetic looking here. And I'm going to keep it up here. But I need to make the screen fuller, so I apologize if the video is crappy. For some reason, this webcam just wants to give you like LSD tracers. All I have to do is take the extra like minute and a half, which is way too long, way too long. Not even being sarcastic there, it's just tediously too long to sit there and right click and wait for something to pop up and then click it, and then wait for that to pop up and then click it, and then change the exposure rate from auto back to where it the fuck was anyways. And that makes it like a normal camera instead of this trippy shit that looks like fucking Bruce Lee, you know? Like that's crazy looking. Anyways, So, here we have the Sean Morris alternative sump systems. And of course, you might notice there's a hint that I'm holding back one from you. And that would be the Shorebreak 2.0. Something that I've devised in recent years, which is going to be a large part of my store. So, anybody who wants to help fund my store one day when I'm done building it, you can come visit. And then you can see just how good a shit you're missing. Anyways. Jelly Crush. Not Candy Crush. Jelly Crush.
I'm enjoying the request of members.
Yes, dear. Alright, so anyways. These 4 designs are a combination of things that I've set up on this channel that you've seen in operation. And basically what else you would have to do then to make them work all at once. What separates all of these from the system that I'm running right now is the purple circle. Okay, that's a protein skimmer. Circle within a circle, protein skimmer. The thing that looks like a pump with the red line coming out of it, that represents your return pump. The diagonal orange cylinder looking thing coming down, that represents your overflow from the top tank. Now these are, other than the horrible lack of 3D perspective, top-down views, showing, you know, a generic volume sump. This can be done by scale in a 10 gallon. This can be done in a 40 breeder. This can be done in a 120 gallon fucking tank. And you can have just a giant, wonderful Shorebreak scenario. Basically allowing algae scrubbing to take place as it would in nature, up on some lit rocks. And just as you would any other algae scrubber, just pull the fucking rocks out and clean them. Fancy that. But there's more benefits to that system that I'm going to talk about in a second. I'm going to start with the one on my top left, which is hopefully still your top left. Otherwise, this channel is going to be called SUPERCHAT. Anyways,
I don't even know what language that sounded like. I was trying to think.
And these are going to be, I'm not going to try to pronounce that backwards. Anyway. So, top left, spinning seaweed. First videos, okay, back during the wonderful introduction of this intestinal parasite from the Celarus we bought from Petco. Pretty simple design. Your return is diagonal, facing at the front glass to where you leave room for a vortex to form on the alternative side. So you want your return on the right side, just reverse the whole thing, you know, go either way. That water vortexing tends to collect nutrients. Those nutrients and their decomposition tend to stay central and feed that cheta, and that vortex works. Okay. Now, I don't recall what went wrong with everything in my system to give you an account of why I stopped using it, but the main reason I stopped using it was because I got hold of some Caliper prolifera, and I'm trying to grow out as much of that as possible. Which brings me to the next method, grass and sand. Caliper prolifera, mexicana, even gracilia, dragon's breath, can all be used on any given substrate. On the left side, or, basically the opposite side of a tank, you want to use a little bit of live rock to break up the water flow, both when it enters that area, so that it doesn't push the sand out from that corner. You want it to be able to hit that glass pretty square on, though, without being obstructed by live rock. You just want the live rock to obstruct the sand at that point, because the glass is going to disperse the water well and cause a nice flow. I would even aim it just a little bit more towards the front glass so that that back corner doesn't become stagnant. And then either a divider or simply another stack of rubble with live rock on top to separate the sand from your return pump area. And, with some maintenance, you keep the Caliper from ever growing over there, and you're fine. The sand that does make its way down there is going to collect with a bunch of detritus, and is going to be very quick and easy to siphon out. I recommend doing so after stirring the sand on the left with some chopsticks or whatever tool you have. And what that does is basically the same as the spinning seaweed, only it allows you to add aragonite for a little bit of extra pH stability. The top left spinning seaweed system can be ran with sand, but actually works best on a glass bottom tank. And that's a lot of where I went wrong with that setup early on, was allowing detritus to collect in the bottom sand. So make sure you don't do that. Now, the next method, divide and filter. That's what I got going on right now. On the left side, I have the grass and sand. Okay, and I got that little bit of live rock right where the water falls. Then I have my wall of live rock and the divider. The divider is cut so that the water flows down low and must go through that live rock. Well, most of it must go through that live rock, and most of it must go subsequently into the, I'd say probably 5-inch thick bed of aragonite sand that slopes down to where it's not quite glass underneath my return pump down there, but I leave just enough room to where I can get my big gravel siphon under there, and I suck it all up and then release it, so I can clean all that detritus right out of there, no problem. And as you know, I don't have the protein skimmer inside the sump. I have the protein skimmer hanging on the back of my 55, which is churning out some nice foam now because I've been cleaning it every other day. I've gotten up to every other day, considering cleaning it every day. But actually, I think it kind of peaks after it's been about 6 hours after it's been cleaned. So it seems like every other day is probably better for me right now. Heavier duty skimmers, bigger systems with a lot more fish in them. Might consider cleaning every day. But anyways, so I have some little purple circles shown there to simply represent the media bags, which can be used on any of these setups and would benefit any of these setups simply by providing more nitrification surface area. Now, the shore break. Since nobody's chatting and this is going to take a little more explanation, I'm going to go ahead and put that off. Zoom that in a little bit. Okay. So here's the deal. You need a tall, like a 29 gallon or a 55 gallon. You need a tall tank for this, because it's going to be splashy. You're also going to need a freshwater spray bottle. So feel free to put a mangrove right there in the middle, because you're going to need to wind up spraying fresh water just to keep salt creep from forming anyways. Now, the divider in the middle can be fully porous or similar to that clownfish divider I was discussing earlier. But I recommend most of the flow towards the bottom. And on the right side of it, I have a gradient of live rock. So like a gradually increasing slope of live rock that comes right to the surface of the water. And is just fine sticking out of the water in a couple of places when the water is stagnant. Because on the far right of that tank, as you'll notice, instead of having a return pump, there is a wave maker. And I recommend putting a big wave maker on it. And just bear in mind that means you will have to have some suction cups to secure your protein skimmer with it when you wind up using it, if you wind up putting it inside that tank, or hanging it on the back, wherever you want. But I recommend that the protein skimmer be on this right side by where the wave pump is. Okay, so what's going to happen here is this live rock is now your filter side. And what it's going to do is it's going to grow a bunch of algae on it. There's going to be a ton of copepods just kind of taking up residence in there. And it's going to turn any uneaten fish food into detritus. That detritus is going to be flushed out on a constant basis by both the flow of the return pump, because it's sitting there crashing up against the wall behind it, and the wave maker. So the wave maker will let the detritus build up a little bit, and then flush it out, and then let it build up a little bit, and then flush it out. And where is it flushing it to? The protein skimmer. So the pressure exceeds what that first wall can handle, and the water backwashes. And as long as you have it flowing laminarly from right to left in this picture, as long as you set it up in this direction, the water will go up and over the rocks, back behind them, and out from underneath them towards the protein skimmer. Now from there, the less turbulent flow will go into a refugium. Now you could have a glass bottom chaetomorpha set up right there. I think that might actually be best. That's also because if you do this in a long enough system, say if I was going to do this in a 55-gallon system, on the right side, I could still grow Caulerpa prolifera. Savvy? There's still plenty of space on that right side for more plants. And you can have a nice display refugium with a rolling shoreline, which by the way is going to sound like ocean waves crashing instead of your usual sump sound. Oh yeah, it's going to be just going slosh, slosh. And bear in mind that's 1.0. You should see what the fuck 2.0 is going to do. This is the one that I'm sharing. This is the one that I'm sharing. That's how much better the 2.0 is. This is just, I can just give this one away. And let me tell you, this is pretty sweet, because this actually reduces a lot of the microbubbles without needing any kind of bubble trap. Because you have the area for a small DC pump to provide a vortex current where the chaetomorpha is, and that basically becomes your bubble trap. That is, if you know how to aim that pump. Now from there, you want another acrylic divider, slaughter door hole that can keep the chaeta from getting into the final pump chamber, and of course, being broad enough, needs to have enough holes to where none of them get clogged up. And I would probably like the clownfish breeder type divider for that scenario as well, but I would probably drill some more holes in it. Anyway. So, questions or comments? Anybody happen to actually be watching? I thought, I've seen a lot of people try a lot of different things. And, I'm one of them. I was trying these things out. As far as sumps go, I started doing sump systems in 2008. Before that, I was one just single tank at a time. – 10 years later, I know what filter socks are for. I just don't want them. And it's not because it's a hassle, it's just because it's more crap to buy. I literally have an extra hose that somebody gave me as my return line. In fact, I think most of my return lines are just slopped together from multiple hoses that Rick gave me, or like I was ordering some stuff from somebody and I was like, hey, you got any extra hoses lying around? Can you put them in the box for me? Just ship some random hoses to me. I think I managed to use all of them. So, save the shore break setup. These are pretty much in order from cheapest to most expensive. And the top left, the top right, and the bottom left are all very, very cheap. You're talking less than $100 with the return pump. Okay? And, the skimmer's extra, but still, you can set this up and add the skimmer later once you get the fish. Or, once you save it. Put it on layaway. Do they still got layaway?
Walmart does, but I don't think they sell skimmers at Walmart.
They don't sell protein skimmers at Walmart? I'm on a Walmart protein skimmer. Yeah. Aqueon didn't make a protein skimmer. What's that? Aquaculture? It's like a generic Aqueon? Like a generic of a generic. That's crazy. Anyway. So, the difference between running Caloper prolifera and running chaetomorpha. is that Prolifera costs more. It looks nicer. I mean, that's really it. Chaenomorpha, I would say, is actually more efficient. But you need to provide the flow to it, and you need to get it spinning in a vortex so that the nutrient state concentrate around it. But you can set that up on a glass bottom. You don't have to buy sand for that. You have to buy sand for Prolifera. It does not just, grow on anything. It needs the nutrients. It needs the fish poo to settle in the sand, and it will take the fish poo out of the sand and turn it into pretty leaves. Oh. But the problem with Caulerpa prolifera, oh look, I said it right on the first try, is that it consumes calcium rapidly. It consumes a lot of calcium, so you're going to need to buy just an organic calcium supplement on top of your 2-part solution or whatever you do. Seachem calcium is the perfect choice as far as I know. I actually add a little flourish every month too to my system. Or whenever I go a long time without water changes. It's been a while. Been changing a lot of water lately. Now, spinning seaweed, El Cheapo. Grass and sand, $20 more. Yeah, and a little more to maintain. Now, divide and filter. You're going to need to buy some Carib Sea dry rock or get some live rock, put it in there. Because this is, the idea behind this is the lower maintenance, heavier hitting kind of setup. When I do my water changes, when I dump my buckets, I dump it on the live rock right there. Match the salinity, make sure it's okay on temperature. Then I dump it right down in there to splash all the detritus out of that live rock, much the same way the shore break system. It's kind of designed on that idea, actually, of just having that wall of live rock down there, getting sloshed out once a day or every couple days. On the shore break system, it gets, sloshed out every 7 seconds. But I would still only estimate the divide and filter setup, including the dividers and the live rock and the sand and the return pump, but not the protein skimmer, to be about $140, $150. Yeah. Now the shore break setup, same price plus the wave makers. And you can spend anywhere between $150 and $500 on wave makers. I recommend the Current USA because they're right in the middle of the grade. I've had nothing but pleasure from them thus far, from the Eflux wave maker series. Oh yes, I like to use them in the bathtub. They give me a special massage. When you think about it, you could actually probably run a pretty sweet jacuzzi with those things.
Right.
That pulsating shit. Oh. We need a jacuzzi. We're old.
Right.
Like, my body is aching. Like the thought of a jacuzzi. Like I can't even make dirty jokes about it. I just want to just have like the water jets on my back. Oh. Do you need a vacation? We need a vacation. And I don't mean involuntary ones, like, losing your job.
That doesn't count as a vacation.
It doesn't count, no.
I have been put on medication because I've been so stressed out from this shit.
And people aren't usually hungry on vacation. Well, most people. But anyways, I hope some of you found this useful. Hope you enjoyed the presentation. And if you wind up setting up something like this, share it with us on Easy Reefers on Facebook. We have a little page started, and I'll share it here on the stream one day, especially if I can get a collection of them. We've got a couple of viewers who are starting tanks soon. I don't know whether or not they're planning Sumps anytime soon. I don't think so. But who knows? Maybe one day I'll get actual viewers and treated like a real person with human rights by Google Incorporated. What a concept that would be. If that were to happen, I'm sure there would be hundreds, if not thousands, of people that would adopt these methods and find them to be as frugal as they are efficient. But in case that road is a few blocks away from your path, keep this in mind for when you get around to it. And thanks again, everybody, for watching. Hope y'all had a wonderful weekend. Please click the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and y'all take it easy, but don't take it all.
The way it's